Dr. Jen here. Yes, I am live from my car. This is the beauty of balancing personal and professional life. I'm waiting on my kids, but I wanted to go ahead and take this time to make sure I got a video out to you for Ask Dr. Jen. This week, I think it is vital to go over some immunity basics for kids. Not so much the protocols on what you do for prevention, but actually what you do when you have an active illness. I am seeing a lot of posts about kids having various colds, flus, viruses, and even influenza A and B, and just a whole host of different illnesses that kids are having. So I wanted to go over today what you do when your kid is actually in fact sick. First and foremost, fever is your body's natural way of fighting disease. So I do not recommend that you lower a fever unless it gets up to about 102 and is climbing. Anything before that, I would let that fever go ahead and fight off the illness and disease. Fever is your body's way of, it increases your body temperature to actually kill off bacteria and viruses and other pathogens. If you lower a fever too early, you won't ever actually kill that pathogen, and that pathogen just kind of lingers and it actually gets stronger because it can adapt to fevers of like 99 degrees, 100 degrees, even 101. If you lower them at those rates, then not only does it not really get rid of the pathogen, but it could actually make them stronger. So first and foremost, try to not limit fevers unless they are climbing and getting into dangerous levels. Obviously, you want to take care of them then. With a fever, the most important thing to do is keep the child hydrated. And with hydration, the most important thing is going to be water. If they are vomiting and it is hard to get water down them, if they drink water and they vomit it up, do it in very small increments. So just sip a little bit of water. Don't go having them chug a whole glass. Just have them sip a little bit of water. My kids, what I found when they were little is if they were vomiting, we would just do ice chips, and I would crush up a bunch of ice and they would just kind of chew on them or suck on them a little bit, and they would just keep doing that throughout the day. And those little bit of increments of water would definitely help keep them hydrated. You want to make sure when your child is sick, no matter what, that they are urinating several times throughout the day like normal. If they are not, or if they have a lot of dizziness, a lot of headaches, and they're not urinating how they should, you need to get them to the doctor ASAP and get them some hydration, because these are signs of very severe dehydration. And dehydration takes an illness that is like just safe and not harmful, and it can escalate it to where it can be even deadly. So definitely watch your hydration levels. Otherwise, with that, whenever a child is sick, you want to, 1, keep them hydrated. 2, you need to cut all sugars. I go bonkers when I see online that people have posts about their kid sick, and then in their hand is the kid has a popsicle or a bowl of ice cream or a juice or something that is full of sugar. Sugar feeds disease. If you want to keep that virus living, if you want to keep that bacteria going, feed it sugar. So one of the things that drives me bonkers is when I see parents giving a child some form of sugar, even artificial sugars, when they're sick. You need to avoid this. If you keep them from sugar, you help slowly starve out these pathogens. So what I recommend when a child is sick, the very first thing that I would give any of my patients, my kids, myself, my family, my friends, whatever, I would start with organic chicken broth, chicken stock, chicken bone broth. This is very medicinal. It is also very easy on the stomach. It does have a lot of sodium in it. People freak out about sodium, but sometimes whenever you have, especially if you've been vomiting or had diarrhea, some of your sodium stores can be very low. So always start with a very good organic chicken broth, chicken stock, or chicken bone broth is actually the best, and get that into them. As they are able to eat more solids, then create this as a soup. Add some chicken to it, add some vegetables, add some rice noodles if you need to. Start adding substances that is mixed with the chicken broth or the chicken stock or the chicken bone broth. Start adding solids to it and start building the base from that. And what you will see is that is the easiest on the stomach as far as starting to reintroduce foods after a child is sick. What you want to avoid, though, is you want to avoid, again, a lot of sugars. You also want to avoid food that is hard or takes a lot to digest, like a big solid meat, like a steak or something like that. You don't want to do that. If they're having diarrhea, You don't want to start with a lot of raw vegetables right from the get-go, because that can actually irritate the lining of the gut more. So start with something easy. Soups, of course, especially with a chicken broth base, is the best thing to start with that. I also would recommend adding some good healthy fats. Get them maybe a little bit of avocados, or maybe even a little bit of coconut oil, or some good healthy fats. Start reintroducing those, as those can be easy on the stomach as well. Other than that, go slow and steady as far as reintroducing foods. The other thing you want to avoid is you absolutely want to avoid dairy. When you consume dairy, dairy does two things. It creates mucus and it creates inflammation. And so if you are fighting an illness and you're trying to get out mucus and your body's trying to expel this and get rid of it, the last thing you want to do is add dairy to where they're creating it again. So avoid milks, avoid cheeses, avoid yogurts, avoid all of this, especially when you're sick. And then even when you're not sick, I would continue these recommendations. Keep hydrated, get rid of the sugar, and get rid of that dairy. And that way, overall, your immunity can help. So those are just a couple of tips and tricks that I have if your child is actively ill. But if you have any questions or any concerns at all, please comment below, and I will be sure to answer any questions that you have. Anyway, I hope that everyone's having a healthy winter season. We're in February. We're almost there. Spring is just around the corner. I know that my family and a lot of my patients have been super healthy this summer or this winter and haven't been sick at all. And so I'm hoping that for everyone. So I think if there's a little bit more guidelines and a little bit help with the nutrition as far as everyone goes, maybe we'll see those illness rates throughout our whole community drop as well. So any comments, any questions, comment below. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day.